It was a little bit of a revenge arc. Like I felt confident going into it. Like being on EG reserve was a big experience for me, and like actually stepping onto the stage against them was a pretty big deal. And I'm glad we were able to take out the win.
Hi everyone, welcome to 1v1. I'm joined today at Riot Games Arena by Icys, with G2 coming off a 2-0 victory over Evil Geniuses. This was Icys' debut at VCT Americas, so Icys, how are you feeling?
Feeling good. Like I got the first smash jitters out of the way, so I'm feeling confident going into other games.
Were
So,
you feeling pretty nervous going into the game?
like going into the day, like stepping into the arena was like kind of a big deal. But I think I got over the nerves pretty much. Like when I stepped on stage and like actually started playing, I felt pretty good.
Mm-hmm. How did you feel about your own performance here today?
I feel like, playing Rays, like I was kind of like going in, I was doing my job pretty much, and like my team did like awesome. They were trading me out, and like together as a team, we were playing really good today, and I think that like helped us to win. So.
Mm-hmm. And so I know that you were on the EG reserve roster last year, so how did it feel kind of going up against them today?
It was a little bit of a revenge arc. Like I felt confident going into it. Like being on EG reserve was a big experience for me, and like actually stepping onto the stage against them was a pretty big deal. And I'm glad we were able to take out the win.
Definitely. So you just joined G2, like the announcement just came a few days ago, but like how long have you actually been practicing with your new teammates?
I think like it's been like about 2 weeks practicing with G2, like the actual roster and the announcement. I kind of like came here and like was waiting for the announcement for a little bit, and yeah, I think the announcement was like a few days ago. So
Mm-hmm.
we were practicing for like 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah. And what are your like first impressions of your new teammates and like playing with Valen as your IGL?
Valen's an insane IGL, like definitely the best I played with. I think he's really good at shooting, but also like his IGLing. He's a good leader. He has a good like leadership traits. And I think that makes him like molds him into a really good player. I think the rest of the team, like I think everyone's insane. Like this is a great roster. I'm really confident in us going into the season.
Mm-hmm. Um, so this G2 signing, like how did it come about? Did you get offers from other teams? Did G2 approach you? Kind of how did that all come about?
Going into the season, I was gonna play challengers with Together We Are Terrific. So as I was playing with them, we were scrimming against G2 a lot. So I think like going into that, I know there was like good word about me, but also like I was doing well in scrims against them. I think that helped me out, and those were like two big factors as to like why they reached out to me, and I got the spot. So yeah.
Nice. So I know that two of the signings for this split, you and Rooney. I talked to Rooney yesterday, and you played on the same team a couple tournaments in the off season.
Yeah.
So what's your relationship with him, and why do you think both of you kind of stood out to teams?
I love Rooney. Like he's a great teammate. He was like my IGL on my previous team. So going into the challenger season, I was on a team called OR, and I was probably playing with him for like a month or two with Rooney, and that's where we kind of met. And then we like played some like other tournaments like for fun. We went to like a Las Vegas tournament. But yeah, I think Rooney's a great player. I think what sets him apart is his like great aim. He's like smooth. He's like composed when he plays. I think for myself, like I see myself like as a very good like mechanical individual, and I think I bring a lot to a team. Like whether it just be like my mechanics or team play, I think I'm just a good teammate. So.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about your background because you're new to VCT Americas. So where did you grow up, and kind of what were your first experiences playing video games?
I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, and my first experiences, it was kind of like I have two older brothers that are twins,
Mm-hmm.
and they introduced me to I think it was Halo. Like I played like random games, but I started with Halo. I think that's what like got me into shooters, and I would like play with people that are older than me. I was like way younger, and I felt like I was like competing, like sticking with them. Like I was like up there with them, and like that like led to me getting a computer, and I was like trying new games, and from there like played a ton of different games, and I settled on one game, Counter Strike, and then it led to Valorant when it released. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, why did you decide to move over to Valorant?
Uh, Moving over to Valorant, it was like a big step for me. I think I was a little late to actually make the switch, but moving over to Valorant, it just like it was like new motivation. Like I had a lot going on in life, but when Valorant came out, it was just like like a breath of fresh air,
Mm-hmm.
and playing it just brought me a lot of joy. And I would play with friends, and then it slowly like got me into competing. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed on your VLR page that you've been playing Valorant since like early 2021. Um, and you've played in a lot of like Nerd Street tournaments, Knights tournaments. So, kind of what were some of the things that you learned kind of grinding at the tier 2 and tier 3 levels?
It like the main like takeaway from grinding there is like it takes a lot, and you're gonna learn a lot like playing with other players. Like I've like surely played with like over 100 players in tournaments and whatnot. So just like taking away things from people and like learning new things and just like not only using it to compete but also like to learn. Like I think learning is very important. So that's like one big takeaway from like playing a lot of tournaments and like grinding my way up.
Hmm. And I also wanted to ask about what you learned from being on that Evil Geniuses reserve roster last year, because I know that everybody says that that roster was like critical for helping the main team win champions. So, kind of what did you learn when you were on that roster?
I would say a lot of it was like adaptability. Going into Evil Geniuses, I would just like play with like random teams. I was like a free agent team, and we would just like play like standard comps. But like going into EG, we helped them. Like when I was on EG reserve, we would help them like prep for matches. So I felt like a lot of takeaways were due to the fact that I was like trying out new comps, and I realized like what's good, what's bad, what counters this comp, because I got to like try all these different agents and different comps and like see how they're like played out. So yeah.
Hmm. And looking forward to the rest of the season, who are some of the other teams and players that you're looking forward to facing?
I would say one player I'm looking forward to facing is Aspas. I think Aspas is really insane. Team wise, there's no like specific team I'm looking forward to. I'm just kind of taking it match by match.
Hmm. Cool. Um, I know you're a Texas Rangers fan, so are they winning the World Series again this year?
I'm not like the biggest fan, but I don't know if they're looking good. If they're looking good, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I'm like also a Reds fan, so those are like the two teams I was following.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I don't think I've like watched like too much like going into this season,
Hmm.
but yeah,
Cool. So that's all the questions I have. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.